Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Art Side of Life, where it's all about how you can turn your creative passion into a profession. My name is Eva, and my guest today is an amazing illustrator, originally from Poland and currently living in the UK. His passion for art started at a very young age with drawing nothing but dinosaurs. Over the years, he grew a strong affinity for traditional tools like watercolors, pencils, or acrylics. When he creates digitally, he turns to Photoshop and Illustrator. He studied graphic design in high school, and that influenced many of his works. He decided not to continue studies in traditional schooling and instead follows his art journey by himself, focusing on getting better in art fundamentals and producing his fine art series, the latest being inspired by the color yellow. With his work, he wants to connect emotionally with as many people as possible, touching hearts and even inspiring them to start creating. So please welcome Tomasz Mro, also known as Tomasz Mro, and let's get to the interview. So, welcome everyone to the next episode of Art Side of Life, and I'm super happy to have my guest here today, Tomasz. Hi!
Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks so much.
Oh, perfect. And let's start with your background. And I would like to know how you kind of had like creative outlets when you were a kid. Did you have board games or did you write like drew when you were a kid?
So basically, I was a massive fan of dinosaurs. Like, I used to love dinosaurs so much as a kid. You know, I watched Jurassic Park on a daily basis, literally every day. And I often watched the behind the scenes. So how people like created the animatronics, the models, the sets. And that really inspired me as a kid. Creatively, and I would actually buy like plasticine. My parents would like buy me plasticine, like modeling clay.
Yeah.
And I would like build my own dinosaurs.
Oh, really?
Like
wow.
with the clay, but they were very rubbish. But I tried. And then I would just do loads of dinosaur drawings, and I'll probably draw dinosaurs till I was like 12. And I would watch Lord of the Rings. I love that movie so much, and I would watch the behind the scenes as well, and how people, produced the sets, the characters, and how much skill and effort they put into like creating the whole movie, and how much time went into it, and that really inspired me as a kid to just draw and I feel very like creative just by watching the films, and that kind of motivated me as a kid to basically draw. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, because that's like already now you can like watch what happened behind the scenes in the movies and how it's done, so it can kind of get you inspired what you want to do if you want to be like makeup artist or models
exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. As a kid, I was very much into video games as well.
Mm-hmm.
Different like fantasy games mainly. I think it's because I was probably Lord of the Rings, and that kind of motivated me to draw like orcs, goblins. I found it very fun and like very relaxing, and I'd show off to my parents and friends, and that kind of just boosted me creatively. And I also had good teachers. I always had good art teachers at school, at primary school. They kind of knew that I was very passionate about art, so they like very much motivated me to do what I do.
Yeah. And so which were kind of the biggest decisions you had to do when you wanted to follow your passion?
I think just being involved with art 24/7 was very important for me, because sometimes I had breaks, and I think that kind of stopped me from doing it. Because I was interested in other things as well. But the biggest decisions probably were right now when I dropped my course in November. I did a pre-degree art foundation course, which is a course that you do before you go to university. Mm-hmm. And I only did it for about 2 months because it was very old-fashioned. I wasn't a fan of the teachers. I've heard stories that they did the same thing over like 25 years. So, they didn't very much know how art is nowadays, how much it has evolved. The biggest decision was probably when, I had to decide whether to drop it or continue with the course. but I decided to drop it. I just felt so unmotivated. Like, you know, we did like origami that didn't even look like origami. I was like, how is this helping me develop, you know? I wanted to do like live drawing. I wanted to do like, you know, to learn about perspective, anatomy, kind of more hardcore, like art fundamentals rather than just like, you know, we used like ink and just made like splatters. I was like, how's this like helping me? I was like, oh. So, yeah, I decided to quit the course after about 2 months. I finished college. I finished my high school, and I did economics there. I did maths, graphic design, and fine art. And one of the biggest decisions there was actually, you know, to choose whether I want to go into maths and economics or whether I want to go into art. But I just felt that I was so passionate when I was like, you know, in my childhood, like, you know, drawing the dinosaurs, the orcs, you know, watching those films, the behind the scenes, that kind of inspired me so much that I was like, screw it, I want to do art.
Yes.
And yeah, literally. And then, you know, I was just like thinking, you know, whether I should drop the maths, economics. It was kind of my plan B. So the decision there was whether to drop it, and I did. I just kind of you know, told my parents during the second year, you know, guys, like I don't feel motivated doing maths. Like I don't want to do it. You know, I was okay at it, but I wasn't passionate about it. So I decided to quit my maths and economics course, and I carried on with graphics and art. I think that's one of the hardest but probably best decisions I've made, because I'm still carrying on with doing art. And one of the things that annoyed me was my maths teacher. He kind of told me like, don't do art, you know, you will not get anywhere in life. You need maths to, you know, have a proper job, proper income. Like, you're making a very bad decision. And that kind of annoyed me, but at the same time got me so determined to do art even more, because I just wanted to, you know, show him that I'm really passionate about doing art. So I was like, you know, screw you, like I just want to do art, and I quit maths completely.
But then how did you know that you are doing like a good decision? Because when you are in school and you are not sure, or did you have someone you look up to, or did someone advise you that you can do this, or what was your kind of main inspiration?
During that time, I had my Instagram account, and I had a lot of, you know, my followers were growing. You know, I kind of saw that maybe I could be ready for, you know, for this industry. Nobody at my college, you know, was selling their own art. I was the only one selling my art through, you know, my website, like a local gallery in my town. So I kind of felt like I was ready, you know, to do this. I felt very determined at that age, because I think, like, you know, when you're young, you have so much, you know, energy.
Yeah.
I would stay up till like 2 a.m. doing art. So my parents could kind of see that I was very determined. So even when I quit my maths and economics course, they could kind of see that I think like he's making the right decision. So we're going to support you no matter what. And I think, yeah, just being very determined at that age kind of like told me that, yeah, I should definitely quit maths and economics. And my art teachers were very supportive as well. And even when I told my economics teacher I want to quit the course, she was kind of like, I don't know why you took economics with art. That's very strange. Like, they're so different.
It's like, why?
It's like, why? So she was like, yeah, that you make the right decision. Yeah.
And so did you have some mentor or someone who inspired you the most?
I think just probably, you know, artists on Instagram, like Agnes Seo. I was very inspired by her work during that time. I did 2 projects on her. When I was 16, I did a project on her. And then when I was 17, 18, I did a project on her in college. And just looking up to like different artists and seeing how much they develop. I always love to look how artists drew like 6 years ago and then now, and how much they improved. That very much motivated me. But I never really had a mentor. I think I was my own mentor. Like, I would just, you know, try to talk to myself basically in my head, like what I want to do. And, you know, I'm an overthinker. I think through loads of things in my head on a daily basis. I think it's something to do probably with my anxiety as well. I'm quite an anxious person, so I think through loads of different things. And I think that's kind of why I made, all the decisions like at this age.
So did you set up some goals where you want to be like in few years or 5 years or 10 years?
Um, I think the main thing is just I always want to develop. Like I get very frustrated if, I see that I'm not improving, and just constantly listening to podcasts and listening to other artists and their tips and, on how to grow, kind of just help me to know what I need to do, like for the future, to be ready for the future. I just turned 20, so I'm thinking of like just for the next 2 years working really hard, on my fundamentals. I know I made quite few bad decisions in the past few years because I didn't do enough sketching. I didn't focus enough on my fundamentals. So right now I kind of feel like very, determined to try keep, improving and getting better.
So how do you approach learning? Because you have like different opinions on like how to learn. Because some people want to kind of level up all their skills, like I'm not good at fundamentals yet, or color and light, and then they're just learning everything. And others are just building up on their own skills. Just like I'm good at color and light, so I'll just be like the best. So how do you do that?
I think just looking back at what you think you're not good at is then you can just kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna, purchase Andrew Loomis' book and, focus on my anatomy and then do that for, let's say, 3-4 weeks and then just, do hardcore learning, anatomy learning. And then if you draw another piece and you're like, oh, wait, but I'm not that great at color, I don't feel very comfortable. And then maybe, you purchase like a coloring book. I mean, not a coloring book, like a color theory book, and then just learn from that. I think it's just good to take it in steps. Just moving on from one thing to another. Because if you do something, that's personally for me. If I, let's say, do anatomy and then color and then, perspective and then do it all at the same time, I feel like I'm not learning anything because I'm just taking like bits and then I forget what I learned. Yeah. So I think the best thing to do is just, like for me, I recently purchased all the Andrew Loomis books. I'm focusing right now on like figure drawing. Yeah. And I think it's important if you, let's say, like environments, the painting environments, that you should mainly focus on like color, perspective. But if you prefer to, draw portraiture, then focus on like anatomy, creating different shapes, to create the face, sketching. So I think just knowing what will help you in what you love doing, and then purchasing those, the books, like doing a workshop specific for that thing. I think it's important in order to develop that type of skill.
Ah, perfect. Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, just to find your passion and then try to develop from there and the fundamentals.
I think that's probably the quickest way. I don't know. I keep listening to podcasts and I get a lot of advice from different artists that are so much more experienced than me. So I think just listening to your probably favorite artists and kind of how they went through different stages, their like early career, and learning from them and following kind of the steps, but not only one artist. I would suggest probably like following, like four of your favorite artists and just taking bits and bobs out of them. I think that's going to help you grow like a lot more.
And how would you still decide to go to the brick school or like a college, or would you, if you would do it over and give like advice to young self, like, oh, do I go to like school as a like physical school or just learn online and books? How would you do it now?
I think because basically the decision of me not going to uni was based on I got invited to Karl Lagerfeld's event by Faber-Castell. They did like a operation, and they had a lot of artists that, have finished uni, they were in their 40s, 30s, and they kind of went through all the stages. And they basically said, if you don't feel like the art foundation course is going to be good for you. Just quit and, develop on your own. It's very expensive. Also, university in the UK is £10,000 for just 1 year. So that's a crazy amount of money. And some of my friends that went to uni, for example, to study graphic design, they only had 8 hours a week, and they paying £10,000, for the whole year. So I was like, 8 hours for 1 week is not enough. I don't feel I feel you can learn so much more. I think personally, just for me, I don't feel it would be good for uni. I'm not that type of person. I prefer learning just on my own. So I think just doing workshops online is great, and you only pay like £300, let's say, for a workshop that's, let's say, 2 weeks long. So it's not that much money. But if you spend £10,000 to go to uni, and then you feel like the course is not for you, you waste £10,000 and it's gone. Yeah. Whereas if you spend £300 there, £400 there, £200 here, it's not as much money. It's not that crucial. So I think nowadays with like online workshops, you can learn so much. Like, it's crazy. Even if you're listening to podcasts like your one on YouTube, or Bobby Chu, Level Up, you get so much advice, and you can learn so much from that. And me listening to them like in the past year has like grown me so much as a person.
And what would be your favorite course, maybe what you took, like about art, what you can recommend from your experience?
I didn't take many online courses yet, but I've bought all the Andrew Loomis books, which I'm learning from now, studying from now. And I think they're great for, trying to boost my anatomy. I also bought a color theory book recently. I can't remember the name of the artist. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to try and learn from that as well. But I'm thinking of doing schoolism as well with, the Bobby Chu.
Yeah. I did a few courses as well.
Yeah, I listened to the first episode that you put on, and you said that you did one of the schoolism workshops or lessons. I'm thinking of signing up for that too.
Yeah, because you can choose your favorite artist, as you said, and then you can just learn from that person, which is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And they've been in the industry for so many years, so it's great to learn from them.
Yeah. And what do you think? What was your best advice you ever received, and maybe also the worst advice, if you think about that?
I think the worst advice, probably my maths teacher, when he told me, art is not going to get you anywhere. You need maths, to have a proper job. He was very one-sided. So I think probably I didn't agree with his advice completely. I always try to prove him wrong. So I'm happy, I quit maths. And the best advice, I got a lot of advice just listening to podcasts in the last year, but I think the best advice to just do it is to just do it. Don't make, excuses. Yeah, I make so many excuses all the time. Just like I want to create a piece, but I'm like, I'm not good at this, or I'm not good at that. Maybe I should do something else. And then, the whole day passes and I haven't done anything. So I think just doing it and, just being involved all the time, just researching, going on Pinterest, finding new ideas, concepts, and just constantly trying to be inspired, looking up to different artists, learning from them. I think, just the best advice is to just do it, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, good. So what are you doing now? What are your projects which are you working on now?
So I'm working right now on my yellow series that I've done in the past, and I just kind of wanted to go back because it used to be my favorite color as a child, like the yellow color. So I'm just working on that series now, and then I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes, just sketching, anatomy, drawing, because I feel so behind on it. When I look at different artists that are at my age, just through Instagram, I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so behind. So I'm just trying to to get better at the fundamentals. but yeah, I love doing different series. So like I did a rainbow series, I did a yellow series. So I'm just kind of constantly switching different color themes and working on different series.
Ah, perfect. So, what is your main inspiration? Is it color, when you mentioned yellow or rainbow, or do you have something strange which inspires you?
I don't think I don't know if I have anything strange, but yeah, definitely color. Color inspires me a lot. Just looking at different pieces with a lot of different artists and how they use color, to kind of project emotions. I'm very much inspired by different emotions like, sorrow, sad, different types of like sadness, like depression, anxiety. Um, I mainly look back onto my childhood. I mean, I had a great childhood in Poland, but then the school years, I kind of got bullied at school. I didn't feel very like comfortable. People would like talk behind my back about, question my sexuality and all that. So I often look back in my like younger years and kind of try to project those emotions that I like, went through the last few years and kind of try to like put it into my art. So I'm inspired by, different emotions, different stories of people, like if they went through anything, traumatic or anything, I kind of try to put that into my pieces. Like a lot of my rainbow themed pieces kind of talk about, my coming out story and all that and how I kind of got, bullied at school.
Yeah.
So I think emotions and color together, like the combination of the two, is kind of like my main inspiration, for my pieces. And then, yeah, just different artists like listening to podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, because it might help as well when you create art, right? If you have a hard time at school or in a community, that when you
Oh yeah,
create something that
definitely.
helps.
I think literally art my life during that time because when I was depressed, when I was like sad, when I was very down, I would draw, and that would literally be my outlet just to express myself through art rather than one to one with someone. If
Yeah.
somebody bullied me, I wouldn't talk back to them. I would just kind of be in my own like space and kind of just go to my room and just draw and close the door and kind of be very involved just like making work. And that, just doing art, it used to be my favorite lesson at school as well. I hated like, sports because people like, kind of make fun of me. So, going to like the art class and just like, producing art and like expressing myself through like painting was like the best thing that could have happened to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, because then you can express your emotions and feelings and just do,
Mm.
and you will find your community which supports you also
Yeah,
online. Or
exactly. Like the different, DeviantArt, like different forums, like conceptart.org and all those websites, now Instagram and YouTube and, having an account, having followers, like receiving nice comments from people.
yeah,
Like, I think
definitely.
art saves people like music, if there's musicians, like if they produce music that kind of, saves them and like for other people, like painting saves them too.
Yeah,
It depends what you went through. Some people have
exactly.
different stories, but yeah, for me, art definitely helped me like so much.
Yeah, yeah, because for sure, like young artists or just young students or everyone in our audience, they might think like, oh, I don't have a community in the real life, like physical people around me, but you can always find it online, as you mentioned. So
Yeah,
that's a
definitely,
good thing.
definitely.
And what are
I agree.
some projects exciting which are coming up later on, if you want to share something?
Um, so kind of like a project I'm working on is the phone cases that I'm planning to release very soon. Uh, I got a lot of feedback on my Instagram when I kind of asked like, which ones do you think work? And a lot of people were excited to, to own some. So hopefully I can get them released soon. So I'm trying like really hard at the moment to produce all the files and have them printed on the phone cases. So I'm working on that, and then definitely like I planned like the next few series that I'm gonna work on. I'm probably gonna create a few more pieces for the yellow series, and then yeah, I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, like just the sketching and just learning and studying. So I'm not showing a lot of my work on Instagram right now because I'm just trying to, go through all the learning. But yeah, hopefully the phone cases and the next series will go well.
Oh,
I hope
perfect.
so.
And so when you mentioned as well that you are like creating phone cases and then you will be able to sell them or people can purchase them, what are the other things you are making income with? And because we discussed this before recording a
Uh-huh.
bit, so if we can talk about that, like what do you live from or what can you advise young artists to do like when they are maybe starting to sell their artworks or...
Uh-huh. So basically, I make most of my income right now just through selling prints, t-shirts recently, and hoping to release the phone cases. But I still live with my parents, so it's much easier for me. You know, some people don't have it as easy. They have to like move out at the age of let's say 18, and pay rent, and it's so difficult for them to do art at the same time. So I feel very lucky. Um, but yeah, right now I'm just focusing on studying. So I think probably in the next 2 years, I maybe want to start a Patreon page or YouTube finally, because there's loads of people been commenting like, do YouTube, do
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, just do
But
it.
yeah, yeah, but I find it so time consuming. Like even recording, a video on my phone, it takes so long to then just like edit it and everything. I was like, But yeah, hopefully after I do all my studies, then hopefully I can make a start on different projects and the Patreon and the YouTube. But I
And
think for young artists at the moment is I think it's very important to just make that Instagram page, make that Facebook page, make that DeviantArt page, and don't be afraid of putting your work out there, because so many people close up and they don't know how much feedback they can actually receive from their art. So I think it's very important to put yourself out there. And then, even if you have like 300 followers, it doesn't matter. Like I started with like nothing, I just put one random painting on my Instagram page, and then it just grew suddenly. So you never know what will happen.
yeah, definitely. Because actually, if you imagine 300 people in like one room or stadium,
Yeah,
that is like a lot of people actually.
there's a lot of people. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I still can't believe how many, followers I have, and my parents often like look through my Instagram, and it kind of just blows their mind. I never kind of. I still don't believe, how the following is. I think it's crazy right now how social media is exploding, and how much it's helping artists to kind of to grow and their work.
And can you share maybe some tips from Instagram? What you learn over time? Something like, oh, this is actually a really good thing to do.
uh, so I think at the beginning, I'll just probably just say a few tips like how when I started my Instagram. So I think at the beginning, definitely try to have relevant hashtags, watercolor, hashtag drawing, hashtag art, and don't do like follow for follow. I don't suggest doing that. Just like having very relevant hashtags so people from the community follow you. And then I think having, good pictures, good lighting, posting like on a regular basis, so you don't post like 7 pictures in one day and then suddenly you don't post for 1 month. It's like having like posting like let's say 3-4 times a week. I think is good. And then following your favorite artists, just producing quality work. I think it's quality rather than quantity, personally, because I often fall into the trap of like posting work that I don't think it's great, and then I make the bad decision, and then I'm like, I'm gonna delete this. So I think just like if you are confident and you like the work, then I think you should like post it obviously, and then it's just it's like social media is constantly growing, so you never know. You never know how much is going to grow your account. I never expect mine to grow as much. So
Yeah, but your artworks are amazing. So also when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really cool.
thank you.
And so when you're creating stuff, do you also adjust it later on in like Photoshop or other digital tools, or it's like purely like traditional art?
I often actually adjust my traditional work. Like for example, the yellow series, when I paint it with, I do like a pencil sketch, then I go over with pen and then acrylic over the top. Sometimes the acrylic, the layers kind of don't turn out as vibrant as I would like. So, I scan the piece, put it into Photoshop. I adjust like the lines and the colors. And for Instagram, for example, my phone is so bad. I still use like a Samsung Galaxy S4, which is which is literally like 6 years old. So every time, like I take a picture, it's very dark. So I have to like put it into Photoshop, edit the lighting and everything. So even with pictures, not even with my pieces, even with the pictures, I still have to edit them digitally. And I'm very much inspired by concept art, even though I don't do concept art myself, and like it's very inspiring for me. I think concept artists are insanely skilled. They put so much time into knowing so much of the like fundamentals and the theory. So I think you can learn a lot from concept artists. So maybe I don't know. Maybe in the next few years I'll try to go back more to digital work because I was always inspired by Lord of the Rings and other movies like similar to that. So maybe sometime I go back to those fantasy creatures and.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I actually worked on Lord of the Rings for a bit in Lego as well, so I really love the movie too.
Oh God! Oh, that's great.
So it's really cool. And do you have like a favorite brand of pencil or paint or something like? Okay, this is my pen or my pencil. That's the one.
I think it's with the watercolors because I do a lot of watercolor. I think it's important to have a very good watercolor paper. It can save so much of your time because if you have a cheap quality watercolor paper, the water doesn't flow that well, the pigment doesn't spread that well. And you might think that you're crap at watercolor, but actually it's sometimes the paper, the materials that you use. So I use Fabriano Artistico watercolor paper, which I've been using for, I think, 3 years. It's quite expensive. It's similar to the Arches watercolor paper, but it's very good quality. I think it's shipped from Italy. So I think I purchased it for about £30 for like 20 A3 sheets. So that's my probably like favorite material. But even just like with pencil, I think with pencil, sometimes you can use like a regular pencil and you can create amazing work. So it's not always the materials that can be like faulty. I think Moleskine drawing notebook is amazing for graphite, but I'm very much against the watercolor one because they changed the paper about 2 years ago. And so many people are complaining, like, why they changed it. Because, like, I used it recently and it's just, it's terrible. I've been posting on, like, Instagram how frustrated I am about the paper. But the graphite one, the one for graphite is really good. And then the brushes, I just use, like, regular brushes for my watercolor. I don't buy anything, like, fancy. And then I think having a big workspace, especially if you're a messy, is awesome because you can like stack up everything. And then, I'm a very messy person. So like I always need like a big workspace. And I think that can save loads of your time because then you're not like, squashed like a little desk. So yeah, having a big workspace and then Moleskine, Fabriano Artistico, Faber-Castell pencils are awesome. The black polychromo is awesome for drawing. And then, like a Wacom tablet, if you're into digital art, Wacom, I think it's great. And then, Photoshop.
Do you have like Intuos or Cintiq or?
I have Intuos Pro, I think.
Yeah. I have that one as well. I think I have Intuos 4 or something.
Yeah. They're great.
Yeah, so it's quite good to like portable. You can take it with you and just go.
Yeah. And it's like mine's the medium size, so it's like it's flat, it's good. And then like maybe in the future I'll try and buy it because I've heard a lot of positive feedback. But yeah, I don't do as much digital art as I used to because actually like when I was 12 to 16, I did a lot of pixel art, like like again like creatures. I worked on like a game project, which was like a game modification, and I did that for about 4 years. You can probably find somewhere like the pixel art that I made like on DeviantArt somewhere. It's like out there in the
In the world.
the world somewhere. But yeah, right now I'm just focusing on my traditional art.
Yeah.
Mainly.
And so how do you design your day? How does it look like? How many hours do you spend maybe on one piece, or how much time do you spend on research, or how does it look like?
So I try to wake up at 9. Sometimes sometimes it doesn't work because I'm always like, up till like 3 a.m. like a zombie, and then I don't want to wake up. But usually I try to wake up 9, 10 a.m. And then my parents come back from work around 3, help them with the groceries and all that. And then, have dinner at 5, 6. So I draw from about, like, do my stuff from about 10 to 5, let's say, so 7 hours. And then, I help my parents, like, groceries, all that, dishwasher, blah, blah, blah. And then from around 8 p.m. to 12, let's say, I draw a bit as well, but a lot of it consists of like procrastination, being lazy, and like, going on YouTube, going on Facebook. Recently I actually tried to stop going on Facebook as much because I find it so pointless nowadays. It wastes so much time. Like, again, social media can be a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. But yeah, I would say about I try 8 hours a day, I think. Yeah, even on like weekends, Saturday, Sunday. But then obviously like try to socialize a tiny bit if I can.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And how do you motivate yourself when you have a down day, like you don't feel like I don't want to draw or create anything?
That is crazy difficult. A lot of people struggle with it, but I think again, just doing it, not making, excuses, I think always saves a lot of time. I think to motivate myself, doing research, if I feel like, I'm having a bad day of drawing, like just doing research and going on Pinterest, finding different inspirations, looking through my favorite Instagram accounts. And instead of looking down on yourself, like being like, oh, I'm never going to be this good, kind of think it like, I want to get there, I want to achieve this. I think it's going to motivate you so much, and it motivates me just to, instead of being like, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this, kind of be like, maybe I can, like if I work really hard. And then doing sketches, I think I haven't done sketches for so long, when I was like 16, 17. And sketching now has helped me so much to kind of continue drawing, even if you're feeling very bad, like if you're having a bad day, just like doing sketches.
And do you go sketch also outside, or like sketch classes or something? No?
No. I wish I did, but I never really. I think if I was more into environments, I would really love probably drawing outside. But,
maybe people, like when you go to cafe and or sketch classes or something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking of like ending free in sketch classes, but I make excuses. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna be good at this.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I wish I was a bit more brave and kind of went to like a sketch class. Hopefully, I think I feel braver day by day. So hopefully there's going to be a point where I like sign up to a sketch class. But I'm hoping, do the schoolism at the moment. I'm gonna probably sign up very soon. So yeah.
And so what do you think, like, for networking, like if people are shy or they are not like right good or making like new friends right away, or kind of find new paid projects, what would you advise young people, or have you experienced something like that, like when you are shy and then you don't know how to approach people? What would be kind of the best practice? Or
I mean, I was very shy, like when I was, very young, like 16, and that's kind of when I even started my Instagram. But I think I didn't share a lot of my personal life on, Instagram. I felt like showing my pieces was I was still shy, but I felt like if I didn't show my personal life, I would feel better about showing my artwork instead. I think it's difficult to, overcome your worries, but I think there will be a point that you'll just, like for me, I just had a point where I was like, screw this, I'm just gonna post my art and let's see what it happens. But, sometimes you can get negative comments and that can really like touch you. But I think, I don't know. It's difficult. I think it's different for everyone, but I just try to ignore it. It's difficult. I can't really give much advice about it because I think it's so personal. But I think because I was so shy and I kind of tried to make art my outlet, I think that's kind of how it made me less shy, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's difficult to explain, but
Yeah, because it's actually a good idea to just start sharing just artworks and nothing from the personal life and just like see where it goes. Because I had few questions as well, like if you go for a like event, like I don't know, Comic-Con, so how do you do networking if you are shy? But I was always like blah, so for me it's like I just can go there and I can just make fool of myself and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But
yeah, exactly. That type of attitude is great, to be fair, because I remember when I got invited into Germany and when I went to the Karl Lagerfeld event, oh my God, I was so nervous, but I had the best time ever. And, I was thinking in my head, like, oh my God, these amazing artists, like, I'm the crappiest person there. Like, why am I here? I was so nervous, I was thinking in my head, like, I was like overthinking every possible situation. And that's again because I'm quite an anxious person. But it turned out to be like, I had the best time of my life at those events. I felt so comfortable. It was like such a one big family, sat at the table, we had dinner, we talked for ages, we went to bed at like 3 a.m. We had loads of chats about everything, like from my personal life to, art accounts or, our pieces, our artwork, our inspirations. I think, like, even though I'm like a shy person, like in real life, like when I share my artwork, I feel a lot more free because I feel like art community is like one of the best, probably. Everyone's like 99% of people are so kind and so lovely. So I think like if there's a person that feels shy about their work, don't be, because so many people, feel the same. It's always great to show like yourself and, what you do, what you make, people are always going to appreciate it.
Yeah, because also think, as you said, like if you go for an event and don't overthink it, that you just see, because it might happen that the person you start talking to doesn't like you, but then I mean, like, what can you lose? Okay, you don't talk to that person, you will talk to another person afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought, oh, people are not going to like me, but I had the best time. And, with Siren Piccolo, like when we went to Germany, I didn't expect them to put so much time into me because, they're so much bigger. They're so skilled, and I didn't think they would give me like the time of day, but we spent so many hours together and they're so amazing. And I really appreciate how much time they put into like when I ask them any questions. So I think like, if you're shy, like asking questions can like help you so much more because you kind of gonna begin to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. So everyone listening or watching, just try it and see. And most of the people are nice. So
yeah, definitely with the art community, I feel like so many people are amazing.
Oh, perfect. Then, so let's talk about the future and maybe like 5 to 10 years. What would be your dream scenario? Like what would, if you cannot fail and you are like, okay, this is how I want it to be.
I think probably like in 5, 10 years, I just constantly want to learn and develop. I think you're a student for life. You can always learn something. If you think you got to a stage where you know everything, there's always something you can learn. So I think I probably want to still be a freelancer rather than work for a studio, because I'm very much an independent person. I can work in a team, but I much prefer I'm kind of like my own mentor, so I kind of really talk to myself a lot. I'm like my own teacher basically. So I think like if I carried on being a freelancer and see how it goes, but life changes every day, so you never know what happens. But I'm hoping to carry on being an illustrator, sell prints, kind of create different series, start YouTube, start Patreon, have my own little like studio, like where I can like, organize all my materials and the stuff, living kind of very calm life, hopefully, stress-free, let loose, yeah.
That sounds good. And what about like really far, far in the future? And if you imagine like in 100 years or so, and what would you like to be remembered for?
I think just connecting with as many people, like connecting the emotions through my paintings with as many people as possible. And I often love hearing stories how, like a piece touched someone's heart because it's it feels so personal to them. And, everyone has a different story, like my coming out experience, I tried to kind of put that through into my, rainbow themed paintings. And, so many people nowadays struggle with that, and they kind of feel connected to those pieces, and it kind of can make them feel, that they're not alone. So I'm hoping like I'll be remembered for maybe just, connecting emotionally with as many people as possible. I'm not planning to be, the best artist ever. I'm just, doing my own stuff. So, some people can hate it, some people can love it, some people can, be like, meh. But, I just do it for fun, basically, and try to have fun with art. I think it's very important to do what you love. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And also, like, if you can influence someone in a good way with your art, that's the best thing ever. So
yeah, definitely. Like, I keep hearing stories and messages where people like say that, they haven't done art for like 10 years and now they're in their 30s and then they picked up a brush. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm only 20 and I've made such a big difference in someone's life. I think it's crazy.
It's amazing. And I'm really happy that you create stuff. So keep creating.
Thank you.
And I'm super happy that you took time and joined us here. And
Thanks so much.
Oh, my pleasure, definitely. And before we finish, maybe you can share like a key takeaway or the last piece of advice.
I think focusing on fundamentals, the basics, is speed you up so much if you start with the basics. Don't try to make masterpieces. Focus on like the fundamentals. Try to learn the things that you feel are going to make you improve. And I think try to make less excuses. Kind of just doing it is gonna get you so much more further than if you're on the sofa like watching TV. So I think just doing it, getting the basics, fundamentals, learning all that is gonna, make you a great artist.
Perfect.
And being yourself, I think is so important. Yeah. You can take loads of inspiration from different artists, but, having your own personality, I think is very important.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you again for being here. It was so much fun.
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you, guys.
And thanks everyone for joining, and see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know in comments. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos because I post new interview every single workday. You can also find the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a little freebie waiting for you, so go check it out. If you want to listen to the interviews on the go, make sure to check out the podcast episodes at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and don't forget to inspire each other. I will see you guys in the next episode.